The rain hit the windshield like 1,000 accusations, each drop blurring the taillights of the cab that had just ditched me on the corner of 8th Avenue. I slammed my fist against the steering wheel of my beat-up Honda, the one I'd nursed across 3 states just to chase this shot at redemption, and whispered a curse that tasted like failure. That's when the engine coughed its last, dying with a pathetic sputter, leaving me stranded 2 blocks from the glass tower that held my future, or my utter unraveling. I'd scraped together every dime for this interview at Sterling & Hale, the powerhouse ad agency where legends were born and dreams got crushed under 6-figure salaries. At 28, with a portfolio of indie shorts that had flickered in a few film fests but never paid the rent, this was it, my Hail Mary. Directing their next national campaign could mean stability, respect, a life beyond ramen and rejection emails. But now, with the dashboard clock screaming 2:47 p.m., 13 minutes to go, I was fucked. My phone? Dead battery, of course. No signal anyway in this storm-slicked hellhole of Manhattan. Desperation clawed up my throat as I scanned the sidewalk through the streaked glass. Umbrellas bobbed like black specters, New Yorkers hurrying past without a glance, their lives insulated by purpose and indifference. Then I saw him, leaning against a lamppost across the street, collar turned up against the downpour, cigarette dangling from lips that curved in quiet amusement at the chaos. Tall, broad-shouldered, with that effortless edge that screamed Brooklyn nights and unspoken stories. Our eyes met through the rain, and something in his gaze, wary, knowing, pulled me out of the car like a magnet. "Hey!" I yelled, splashing across the puddle-riddled crosswalk, my loafers soaking through in seconds. He didn't flinch, just took a slow drag and exhaled smoke that mingled with the mist. Up close, he was even more striking, sharp jaw shadowed with stubble, eyes the color of worn denim, a faded tattoo peeking from his cuff like a secret he wasn't ready to share. "Got a light?" he asked, voice low and gravelly, like he'd seen too many dawns he didn't deserve. "No, wait, shit, I need your phone. Mine's dead. Car's dead. Everything's dead." The words tumbled out, frantic, my tie flapping like a white flag of surrender. He arched a brow, sizing me up, the wrinkled suit, the wild hair, the panic etched in every line of my face. "Desperate times, huh?" He pulled a battered flip phone from his pocket, flipping it open with a flick that spoke of muscle memory. But instead of handing it over, he held it just out of reach, his smile turning sly. "What's the rush, suit? You running from something or toward it?" "Toward it. Big interview. Sterling & Hale. If I miss this..." I trailed off, the weight of it all crashing down harder than the rain. My mom's voice echoed in my head. "Jamie, you're better than this town. Better than him." The him being the ex who'd left me shattered in Ohio, chasing his own straight-laced dreams. I'd come to New York to prove I could stand on my own, gay and unapologetic, in a city that chewed up vulnerability and spat it out. He studied me a beat longer, then nodded, pressing the phone into my palm. Our fingers brushed, electric, unintended, and I ignored the spark, dialing the only number I could think of in that haze. The agency's receptionist. "Jamie Harlan for the 3 p.m. with Mr. Voss. Running late. Traffic. Rain. Tell him 5 minutes, please." She promised to relay it, and I handed the phone back, mumbling thanks that felt too small. "Carter," he said, pocketing it, "and you're welcome. But if you're walking those 2 blocks, you'll drown before you impress anyone. Here." He shrugged off his leather jacket, draping it over my shoulders. It smelled like smoke and sandalwood, warm against the chill seeping into my bones. "Pay it forward sometime." I hesitated. Strangers didn't do this in New York, not without strings. But the clock was merciless. "Jamie." And "Thanks, Carter. Seriously." Then I was off, jacket flapping, heart pounding a rhythm that had nothing to do with the interview. The lobby of Sterling & Hale was a cathedral of glass and ambition, chandeliers dripping light like liquid gold. I shook off the rain, handed back the jacket to the doorman with a nod of gratitude. Carter had vanished into the crowd like a ghost, and smoothed my hair, whispering affirmations I'd cribbed from some self-help podcast. "You're enough. Your vision matters. This is your moment." Mr. Voss's office overlooked Times Square, a panorama of neon chaos that mirrored the storm in my chest. He was older than I'd pictured, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, leaning back in his leather chair like a king appraising a peasant. "Mr. Harlan, bold work in your reel, The Short on the Rust Belt Kids? It's like a freight train." His praise landed like sunlight after the deluge, and for the next 40 minutes, we talked storyboards, cultural undercurrents, the soul of America in flux. I poured out ideas for their campaign. A series of vignettes on overlooked heroes, immigrants and dreamers stitching the country's frayed edges. He leaned forward, scribbling notes, and when he said, "We need that fire here. Offers on the table. Start Monday," I nearly choked on my own breath. Floating out of the building on cloud 9, I scanned the street for Carter, half hoping, half dreading he'd be gone. But there he was, under the same lamppost, nursing another smoke. "Survived the lion's den?" he called, that grin pulling me in like gravity. "Barely. Got the job." I laughed, the sound foreign after months of silence. "Oh, you big. Dinner? My treat." "Well, once the first paycheck hits." His eyes flickered, something unreadable passing through them. "Careful, Jamie. New York's full of wolves in sheep's clothing. But yeah, tonight, that dive on 9th, the Rusty Nail. 8 sharp." As I walked away, the city hummed around me, horns blaring, pedestrians jostling, like it was in on the secret. Little did I know the real storm was just brewing. That night at the Rusty Nail, the air was thick with stale beer and the low thrum of a jukebox crooning Springsteen. Carter slid into the booth across from me, his knee brushing mine under the scarred wooden table, and I told myself it was accidental. We ordered burgers. Greasy, glorious things piled with onions that made my eyes water more than the vulnerability creeping in. He listened as I spilled my guts. The dead-end gigs back home, the ex who'd called me too much before bolting for law school and a picket fence life. The way New York felt like a fresh scar, tender but alive. "You're running toward something real," he said, chasing a fry through ketchup. "Most people just run away." His hand lingered on the table, inches from mine, and when our fingers finally touched, deliberate this time, the world narrowed to that point of contact. Warmth spread up my arm, chasing away the chill of old wounds. Over the next weeks, Carter became my anchor in the city's churn. Mornings, he'd text, a flip phone relic, but his words cut straight. "Coffee run? Don't let Voss bury you in briefs." Afternoons, we'd steal hours in Washington Square Park, him sketching graffiti-inspired logos on napkins while I ranted about ad world hypocrisy. He was a tattoo artist by trade, inking stories into skin at a shop in the village, his own arms a canvas of regrets. A compass rose cracked down the middle, Latin scrawled like a vow broken. "Sebastian," he said once, tracing the faded script on his wrist. "Old flame, burned hot, crashed harder." I didn't pry. Boundaries were sacred in our fragile orbit, but his voice softened on that name, laced with a pain that mirrored my own. Sebastian. It echoed like a warning, but in those sun-dappled moments, with Carter's laugh rumbling low, I let myself believe in second chances. Work at Sterling and Hale was a whirlwind of pitch meetings and late nights, my ideas blooming into campaigns that Voss championed like a proud father. I was the fresh blood, the queer voice injecting heart into their polished machine. But whispers slithered through the halls. "Harlan's got Voss's ear. Watch your back." I shrugged them off, buoyed by Carter's quiet strength, until the day Sebastian walked into the conference room. He was polished poison. Mid-30s, Ivy League crisp in a suit that cost more than my monthly rent, blonde hair slicked back like he owned the light. Creative director, poached from a rival firm, Voss's golden boy. Our eyes met across the polished oak table, and his smile was a blade charming, but it drew blood. "Jamie Harlan, heard you're the one shaking things up. Welcome to the family." The meeting dragged, his critiques slicing through my concepts like they were tissue. "Too sentimental," he'd say, leaning in with that cologne-scented proximity. "Clients want edge, not empathy." By the end, my pitch lay eviscerated, and as we filed out, he caught my elbow. Drinks later? Network a bit. You could use an ally. I demurred, citing plans, Carter, waiting with takeout and a six-pack. But the seed was planted. Doubt. Who was I really in this Shark Tank? That night, Carter noticed the shadow on me. We were tangled on his fire escape, the city sprawl glittering below like a promise kept. His apartment was a third-floor walk-up in Bed-Stuy, walls papered with sketches and Polaroids of faces he'd immortalized in ink. Rough day, he murmured, his breath warm against my neck as we shared a blanket against the autumn bite. Just office politics. I hesitated, then let it spill. The new guy, Sebastian, his effortless command. Carter went still, the easy rhythm of his thumb on my knuckles faltering. Sebastian Hale? His voice was a wire pulled taut.
Hale?
No, wait, Voss introduced him as Sebastian.
Yeah, Hale.
Shit, you know him? The silence stretched, broken only by distant sirens. When he pulled back, his eyes were storms, hurt, fury, a grief I'd never seen. Ix, the one who said forever, then traded it for corner offices and closets. We met in college, thought we had it all, until he decided authenticity was a liability. My stomach dropped, the pieces slamming together. Sterling and Hale, family legacy, Voss his uncle. Sebastian wasn't just a colleague. He was the ghost haunting Carter's skin, the betrayal etched in every line of that tattoo. You didn't know, Carter said, not a question. He stood, pacing the narrow railing, the blanket pooling at his feet. And now you're in his world. Jamie, get out. He's poison. Charming till he chews you up and spits you out straighter than he pretends to be. I can't. This job. It's everything. The words tasted like ash. Everything? Or was it a crutch, propping up the parts of me still scared to leap? He turned, rain from an earlier shower still beating on his lashes. Then choose. But don't say I didn't warn you. We didn't touch that night. I left with the dawn. The space between us a chasm widening with every block. The betrayal unfolded like a slow poison. Sebastian became omnipresent. Mentoring sessions that lingered too long, compliments laced with barbs, invitations to team building that isolated me from the rest. He was a master puppeteer, drawing out my insecurities, whispering how Voss valued discretion in rising stars. We all have our compromises, Jamie. Yours could be flexible. I saw it for what it was. A bid to remake me in his image, closeted and compliant. But Carter's words echoed, a lifeline in the fog. We met in stolen fragments. Midnight walks along the Hudson, where he'd talk about the art that saved him, the way ink could rewrite scars. You're not like him, he'd say, pulling me close. You're fire, not smoke. Yet doubt festered. My pitches started faltering, ideas second-guessed under Sebastian's gaze. Whispers grew. Leaked emails suggesting I'd poached concepts. Anonymous tips to HR about unprofessional conduct. Paranoia set in, who was feeding the beast? One night, nursing a scotch in a dimly lit bar off Park Avenue, Sebastian slid onto the stool beside me. Rough patch. His hand on my shoulder was paternal, almost tender. Voss is riding you hard because he sees potential, like I did once. The implication hung, heavy as the bourbon's burn. He leaned closer, voice dropping. Carter reached out, begging me to go easy. Pathetic, still chasing ghosts. Rage ignited, hot and clarifying. Stay away from him. And me. Sebastian's laugh was silk over steel. Oh, Jamie, you're already in too deep. One word from me, and that potential? Gone. I stormed out, the city a blur of lights and lies. Dialing Carter from a payphone, his flip model too ancient for my sleek one. I poured it out. The threats, the sabotage, the way Sebastian wielded power like a weapon. He's destroying me. Us. Carter's voice cracked over the line. Not us. Come home. We'll fight this together. But home? It was a word I'd lost until him. The climax hit on a Friday, black clouds rolling in like Judgment Day. Voss called an emergency pitch. My baby, the hero campaign, now twisted under Sebastian's revisions into something sanitized, soulless. The boardroom was a coliseum, executives in bespoke suits circling like lions. I stood at the head, projector humming, heart a war drum, as Sebastian unveiled his refinements. My vignettes stripped of queer joy, immigrant grit polished to bland patriotism. Something snapped. "This isn't vision," I said, voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. "It's fear, hiding who we are to chase applause that echoes hollow." Murmurs rippled. Voss's brow furrowed. Sebastian's smile faltered, eyes narrowing to slits. "Bold words, Harlan. But boldness without discretion is just noise." "Discretion?" I laughed, bitter and breaking. "Like yours? Pretending for the corner office while the man you loved bleeds from the cuts you left." The room froze, a collective inhale. I crossed the Rubicon, no going back. Voss stood, face thunderous. "Explain. Now." The floodgates opened. I laid it bare. The gaslighting, the leaks, the way Sebastian weaponized his closet against anyone who threatened his throne. And Carter. God, Carter's name on my lips was a prayer and a plea. He warned me, said you trade authenticity for ambition. I see it now. Sebastian lunged, chair scraping like nails on chalkboard. Lies. He's unstable, always was. Jealous. Clinging to a past I outgrew. But Voss's eyes, sharp, paternal, shifted. "Sebastian. My office. Harlan, you're done here today. But not with us." Security escorted him out, his protests echoing down the hall like a dying echo. The board dispersed in stunned silence, and I collapsed into a chair, the adrenaline crash leaving me hollow. Outside, the rain had stopped, sky a bruised purple. My phone buzzed. Carter heard. "Meet me?" We collided on the steps of the public library, that grand stone sentinel to stories untold. He pulled me into his arms, fierce and unyielding, and for the first time, I let the sobs come, ugly, cathartic, washing away the grime of ambition's underbelly. "You fought," he whispered, fingers threading through my hair. "For you. For us." Voss called later that night. "Sebastian's out. Family or not. Your campaign? Greenlit as you envisioned it. But take the weekend. Reflect. Reflect. On betrayal's sting, love's quiet roar. On how New York, for all its teeth, had given me this. A man who saw me whole, scars and fire. Weeks blurred into a tentative peace. The campaign launched to acclaim. Billboards blooming across the heartland. Heroes unapologetic and alive. Voss promoted me. A quiet nod to the truth we'd unearthed. Sebastian vanished into some West Coast exile, his empire of illusions crumbling. Carter and I built slower this time. Tattoos for me, a small compass on my rib pointing true. Evenings sketching futures on his couch. Mornings waking to his coffee and crooked grin. It wasn't fairy tale perfect. We argued over takeout and whose turn it was to face the dishes. But in the quiet hours, when the city hushed, his hand in mine felt like homecoming. America's a land of reinvention, they say, rags to riches out of the ashes. But the real stories, they're the ones whispered in dive bars and fire escapes, where two souls collide unexpected and choose, every damn day, to stay. Betrayal taught me loss. Carter, redemption. And in the end, that's the hook that keeps you reading. Not the fall, but the fierce human climb back up. The days after the boardroom showdown settled into a rhythm I'd never known. Equal parts exhilaration and ache. Sterling and Hale buzzed with undercurrents. Colleagues shooting me sidelong glances that mixed awe and wariness. I'd become the guy who'd toppled the heir apparent, the queer upstart who dared name the elephant in the ivory tower. Voss kept his distance at first, summoning me only for clipped updates. "Focus on the vision, Harlan. No more drama." But there was pride in his gruff tone, a grudging respect that felt like absolution. Carter was my gravity. That first weekend, we escaped the city on a whim, piling into my resurrected Honda for a drive upstate. The Hudson Valley unfolded like a painting come alive. Leaves aflame in reds and golds, the river snaking silver under a sky scrubbed clean by wind. We stopped at roadside stands for cider that burned sweet on the tongue, laughed over nothing as he navigated with a crumpled map, his free hand stealing glances at my thigh. "Remember that rain?" he said, as we hiked a trail near Beacon, boots crunching fallen leaves. "Thought you were just another suit, drowning in your own ambition." I bumped his shoulder, the contact sending sparks. "And I thought you were a brooding stranger with a hero complex. Turns out you're both." He stopped, turning to face me amid the whispering pines. The air was crisp, scented with earth and possibility. "Nah, just a guy who knows a good story when he sees one." Then he kissed me, slow, deliberate, like he was memorizing the shape of my mouth. No rush, no desperation. Just us, claiming space in a world that often demanded we shrink. Back in the city, reality nipped at our heels. My apartment, a shoebox in Hell's Kitchen, felt too small for the life expanding around us. Carter's place became our haven, its walls evolving with our touches. My film posters tacked beside his ink studies, a shared shelf of dog-eared books on art and resilience. We cooked disasters. Pasta that glued like cement, stir-fries that scorched the pan, but ate them anyway, toasting with cheap wine to the mess that works. Yet shadows lingered. Sebastian's absence was a vacuum, sucking in rumors. A bitter email chain leaked to the trades, whispers of lawsuits and family feuds. One evening, as Carter traced patterns on my back with calloused fingers, he confessed the full scar. "We were 20, he said, voice muffled against my shoulder. "Columbia undergrads, him in business, me on scholarship for fine arts. He was out to me from day one, fierce, unashamed. Marches, manifestos, the works. Said we'd change the world together." Pause heavy as stone. Then his family pulled strings for that internship at Hale Enterprises. Suddenly, it was discretion for the greater good. I was the liability, the tattooed townie holding him back. Last I saw him, he handed me a check, "For your dreams," and walked out my dorm door. The rage I'd felt in the boardroom reignited, but softer now, tempered by love. "He's a coward," I murmured, rolling to face him. "You deserved better." "Hell, you still do." Carter's eyes searched mine, vulnerable in the lamplight. "Doi." "After I dragged you into his orbit, you saved me from it." I pulled him closer, our breaths sinking like a shared pulse. That night, we made love. Not with the frantic urgency of new lovers, but with the reverence of survivors. Bodies entwined, whispers mapping futures. A joint studio where I'd storyboard and he'd illustrate, campaigns that told truths without apology. Monday brought the grind. The campaign's rollout was a beast, storyboards to shoots, talent wrangling that left me hoarse. Voss threw curveballs. Infuse more Americana. Flags, farms, the heartland pull. I pushed back gently, weaving in the grit. A queer veteran in small-town Kansas. A trans kid coding apps in the Bronx. That's the real America, I argued. Not the postcard, the pulse. He grunted approval, but not without cost. Late nights bled into dawns, my phone lighting up with Carter's texts. "Miss your chaos. Bring home pancakes?" I'd stumble in, grease-stained and grinning, only to find him asleep on the couch, sketchpad open to half-formed portraits of us. One such night, exhaustion won. I crashed beside him, waking to the scent of bacon and his quiet humming. Some old folk tune about rivers and roads. "Heroes welcome," he teased, plating eggs with flourish. But as I shoveled food, my phone buzzed, a withheld number. Curiosity won. I answered. Sebastian's voice slithered through. "Jamie, we need to talk." Ice water in my veins. Nothing left to say. "Oh, there's plenty." A chuckle devoid of mirth. "Voss thinks you're golden, but I know your secrets. That little indie short? The one with the kiss in the rain? Funded by a grant you, embellished for. One call to the board, and poof, integrity breach. Bluff or truth?" My stomach nodded. The grant had been a stretch, fudged timelines, sure but harmless. Blackmail now? Classy. Survival? Darling. Meet me, the old spot, Lucerque. Noon tomorrow. Or watch your fairy tale burn. He hung up, leaving silence thicker than fog. Carter, watching from the kitchen, set down his mug with deliberate calm. Him. I nodded, the weight crushing. Threats. Digging up dirt. Carter's jaw clenched, but his touch was steady, cupping my face. Don't go alone. We'll face it. Together. No. The word escaped sharper than intended. This is my mess. My job, my fight. His eyes darkened, hurt flickering. Your fight? Or his? Jamie, he's a black hole. Pulls you in, spits out wreckage. I won't watch it happen again. The argument ignited slow, then fierce. Accusations of control, fears of abandonment, the raw underbelly of trust. You think I can't handle this? I shouted, pacing the cramped living room. That I'm just another mark for him to play? I think you're human. Carter shot back, voice breaking. And he's a master at breaking those. Let me in, damn it. We stood there, breaths ragged, the space between us a minefield. Finally, I deflated, pulling him into a hug that tasted of salt and sorry. I know. I'm scared. Of losing you. Of losing me. He held tight, whispering into my hair. Then don't. We're stronger tangled. But doubt seated deep. The next day I went alone. Lucerque was a relic of old New York. Crimson walls, crystal that chimed like warnings. Sebastian waited at a corner table, looking every inch the fallen prince. Tie loosened, eyes shadowed by nights uncounted. Jamie. Wine. Talk.
Isett, spine rigid.
He leaned in, conspiratorial. Simple. Pull the campaign. Let me back in, consultant role, quiet redemption. Voss caves, we all win. Win? You mean erase what you tried to destroy. Fury simmered, but curiosity won. Why?
Bride.
Revenge on Carter. A ghost of a smile. Love, actually. Twisted, maybe. He was my light, raw, real. I dimmed it to fit the mold. Now, I see you too, and it's envy.
Pure, ugly envy.
The admission hung, humanizing the monster. For a heartbeat, I glimpsed the boy he'd buried. Fix it yourself, I said, standing. Therapy, not threats. Or stay gone. As I walked out, his voice trailed. You'll regret this. The threat loomed, but so did resolve. That evening, over rooftop beers with Carter, I spilled it all. His laughter barked, relieved. Envy? Poor bastard. Come on. Let's burn that bridge proper. We didn't know then how literal it would get. The sabotage struck midweek, a Friday freight train. My laptop, left in the conference room during a smoke break, vanished. By morning, Voss's office erupted. Files leaked online. My concepts twisted into memes mocking woke overreach. Anonymous posts tied it to me, Harlan's agenda, pushing perversion on prime time. The agency reeled. Clients pulled. Stocks dipped. Voss's face a mask of fury as he stormed my desk. Explain this, Harlan. Now. I can't. Panic clawed. Someone's framing me. His eyes bored in. Sebastian. The name was venom. Maybe. But proof. Get it. Or you're out. He swept away, leaving me adrift. Carter found me later, slumped in a coffee shop, staring at the damning screenshots. We fight dirty, he said, sliding in beside me. My network, old art scene contacts. They'll dig. That night, we hunkered in his shop after hours. The air humming with tattoo needles silenced for once. His buddies, hackers, journalists, misfits with grudges, rallied, screens glowing as they traced IPs, unraveling the digital trail. It led straight to a burner account, linked to Sebastian's private server. Jackpot. But as we pieced it, Carter's phone rang unknown. He answered, face draining of color. Bastion. I snatched it, heart hammering. You son of a... Jamie. Sebastian's tone was ragged, unhinged. Stop. It's not what you think. Meet me. Warehouse District. Red Hook. Alone. Or the full drop hits, your affair with the ink slinger, every detail. Voss gets the show. Click. Trap or truth? Carter's eyes pleaded. Don't. But the die was cast. Stay here, I told him. If I'm not back by midnight, send the cavalry. Red Hook was industrial ghosts. Rusted silos, fog rolling off the water like breath from the grave. The warehouse loomed, door ajar. A sliver of sodium light spilling out. Inside, Sebastian paced amid crates stamped with Hale shipping marks, a bottle of scotch dangling from his fist. You came, he slurred, eyes wild. Brave. Or stupid? Truth, I demanded. The leaks, why? He laughed, hollow. To win you back. Know him, Carter. Show him I'm still the better man. A swig, then collapse against a crate. I saw you together, happy. It broke me, so I broke everything. Confession spilled. The framing, the envy festering into madness. I loved him first, deserved him. Pity doesn't rewrite history. I edged closer, phone recording discreetly. You're done hurting us. He lunged then, bottle swinging, rage distilled. I dodged, crate splintering, the fight chaotic. Fists glancing, breaths heaving in the dim. A shove sent him sprawling, head cracking against metal. He groaned, still, blood pooling dark. Panic surged. I knelt, pulse thready under my fingers. Alive, but out. Sirens wailed distant. I'd hit speed dial in the scuffle. As cops swarmed, Carter burst through. Eyes frantic, finding me amid the wreckage. You idiot, he breathed, pulling me close. My hero. Sebastian survived a concussion, charges pending. The recordings cleared me, Voss reinstating with a gruff apology. But the real victory? Waking tangled in Carter's arms. The city outside a canvas for our unfinished story. Winter clamped down on New York like a vice, the kind that squeezed secrets out into the open. Steam rose from manhole covers. Holidays twinkled defiant against the gray. And Carter and I navigated the thaw between us with careful steps. The warehouse brawl had forged something unbreakable. Trust tempered in fire, but scars don't fade overnight. I'd wake some nights, his side of the bed cold, finding him on the fire escape sketching shadows that looked too much like Sebastian's silhouette. We talked it out over endless pots of coffee, voices low in the pre-dawn hush. He got in my head, Carter admitted once, steam curling from his mug like unspoken fears. That call, his voice, like a hook yanking old wounds, made me doubt if I could keep you safe. I reached across the scarred Formica table, lacing fingers with his. Safe? From what bad takeout? Boring pitches. The joke landed soft, pulling a reluctant smile. We keep each other. That's the deal. He nodded, but the doubt lingered, a quiet undercurrent. Work helped bury it. The campaign exploded, viral spots racking up awards. Op-eds hailing it as the ad that humanized America. I jetted to LA for a panel, Chicago for client schmoozes. Each trip a reminder of how far I'd climbed. Voss even cracked a smile at the holiday party, clinking glasses. To the troublemaker who stuck, Carter couldn't make it, shop swamped with walk-ins. But he sent a gift. A custom ink sketch of me as a knight, sword drawn on a storyboard, caption reading sleigh. Baby. I wore it pinned to my lapel, a talisman against the schmoozers. But glamour's glitter hides grit. Back in the trenches, a new exec, Ms. Reyes, sharp as a stiletto, eyed my rise with cool appraisal. Bold moves, Harlan. But sustainability? That's the real game. Her implication. Don't burn bright, burn steady. I nodded, filing it away. Ambition's a double-edged blade, cuts deep if you grip too tight. Christmas Eve found us at my mom's in Ohio. A pilgrimage I dreaded but Carter insisted on. Families are messy, he said, packing his leather jacket like armor. Ours included. Let's show 'em we're worth the mess. Mom's bungalow sagged under fresh snow, porch light haloing the door like a hesitant welcome. She enveloped me in lavender and hesitation, eyes flicking to Carter with that Midwestern mix of curiosity and caution. The artist, huh? Jamie's mentioned you. Over turkey and tinsel, stories flowed. Her nursing shifts, My small-town ghosts, Carter's tales of inked sailors and star-crossed lovers. When he pulled out his sketchpad, drawing her hands, knobbed by years gentle as rain, she softened. You've got a good one here, Jamie. Hold tight. In the guest room that night, snow muffling the world, we lay whispering futures. Your mom likes me, he murmured, lips brushing my temple. Course she does. You're you. I traced his tattoo, the Latin now a mantra. Veritas vos liber beat, truth sets you free. Sebastian's lie reclaimed. New Year's dawned crisp, resolutions scribbled on napkins. More dates, less overtime. A trip to the Keys, just us. Back in the city, resolve held for a week. Then the call came, Voss voice grave. Harlan, board wants expansion. Global push. You lead. Elation warred with dread. Paris? Tokyo? The world beckoned. But Carter's world was here. Shop, sketches, our fragile nest. I told him over dim sum in Chinatown. Steam rising like omens. It's huge. But, travel. Months, maybe. His chopsticks paused. Face unreadable. Congrats. You earned it. The silence stretched. Heavy with unsaid. Carter. Go. He set down the sticks, smile tight. Your dream, right? Don't clip wings for me. Hurt flared. Hot. It's our dream. Or was that bullshit on the fire escape? He recoiled, eyes flashing. Bullshit? I gave up everything once, for him. Won't ask you to shrink. But damn, Jamie, choose. The argument spilled into the street. Snow flurries swirling like accusations. You think this is easy? I yelled, breath fogging. Tearing between love and legacy? Then pick. Carter's voice cracked. Raw. Because half in, that's the real betrayal. He walked away, swallowed by the crowd, leaving me adrift in Canal Street's chaos. I didn't chase. Pride, fear. The city's indifferent hum holding me back. Days blurred into a numb haze. Work consumed me. Strategy sessions, flight bookings, a portfolio polished to gleam. Carter's texts dried up. The shop's neon a ghost I avoided. Mom called, sensing the fracture. Fix it, baby. Dreams chase you if they're real. Nights I wandered Hudson paths where we'd first kissed. The rusty nail where it began. Regret gnawed, a constant companion, until Reyes cornered me in the elevator, heels clicking judgment. Heard about the ex-drama. Careful. Personal life's a liability in this game. Her words ignited clarity. Liability or life? I canceled the Paris recon, emailing Voss. Need to recalibrate. Domestic first. His reply? Smart. Take the time. Agency waits for no man. But it waits for you. I showed at the shop unannounced, heart hammering like that rainy day. Carter looked up from a client's sleeve, eyes widening. Hope, wariness, love. Jamie. Shoes. I crossed the threshold, voice steady. You. Always you. He set down the needle, wiping ink-stained hands. The job. Still mine. On my terms. I pulled him into the back room, away from prying eyes, kissing him fierce. Apology, promise, homecoming. No more halves. We're whole or nothing. Relief broke across his face, arms wrapping tight. Nothing's not an option. Spring unfurled tentative, cherry blossoms dusting the park like confetti. We rebuilt. Therapy sessions where I unpacked ambition's grip, he his abandonment scars. Dates became rituals. Picnics in the sheep meadow, underground poetry slams where he'd ink haikus on my palm. But peace is fragile, and Sebastian's shadow stretched long. A letter arrived, forwarded from the agency. His handwriting, elegant as ever. Jamie, Red Hook was rock bottom. Rehab now, truth's cold cure. Saw your spots on TV. Proud despite it all. Tell Carter. Forgive me? For the boy I was before the lies. Sebastian. I showed Carter over gelato in Little Italy. Cones dripping like tears deferred. He read, face cycling through fury to sorrow. Forgive. A bitter laugh. Maybe. For my sake. We burned it that night. Fire escape vigil. ashes scattering on the wind. To closures, I toasted with a beer. STO new beginnings. His grin, real and radiant. Yet life tests the seams. Summer brought a curve. Carter's shop offered a franchise. LA Outpost, his designs front and center. Big leagues, he said, eyes alight. But cross-country? We'd make it work. Would we? Long distance loomed, a specter of strain. LA's got sun, I teased. Beats this sauna. His laugh hid the ache. And you'd have Paris. Fair trade. No, but love's not ledger. Go if it calls. I'll visit. We'll visit. The words felt hollow but true. He chose stay for now. Roots here. With you. Autumn leaves turned, mirroring the turn inward. At a festival in Dumbo, amid street performers and spice-scented air, Carter dropped to one knee. Not ring, but sketch. Us, entwined under a compass rose, words woven. Our story, unfinished. Marry me? He asked, voice steady. Not papers, promise. Build this life, page by page. Tears blurred the ink. Yes, God, yes. The crowd cheered oblivious, but our world narrowed to that vow. Humanistic, messy, profoundly ours. Yet climax whispers in the wings. A call from Voss. Sebastian's petitioning return. Consultant. Clean slate. The old rage stirred. Betrayal's echo. Carter's hand in mine steadied. Your call. We're solid. I met Voss. Laid terms. Monitored. No contact. Redemption's earned. Not gifted. He agreed, eyes appraising. Growth, Harlan. You've got it. As snow dusted again, Carter and I walked Central Park, mittens linked. Think he'll stick? I asked. Doesn't matter. His squeeze. We've got our plot twist. And in America's grand, flawed narrative, betrayals redeemed, loves reclaimed, we wrote on. The petition hung like a guillotine, sharp and suspended. Voss's concession bought time, but sleep evaded me. Nights spent staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying Red Hook's chaos. Carter sensed it, his touches turning anchor-like, grounding me in the now. He's a footnote, he'd murmur during our morning rituals. Coffee brewed strong, bagels toasted just shy of char, you're the chapter. I wanted to believe it. Work provided distraction. The global pivot morphed into a hybrid beast. Remote collabs with London creatives, domestic shoots that kept me rooted. Reyes proved ally, not adversary, co-piloting pitches with a ferocity that matched my own. We're rewriting the rules, she'd say, clinking water glasses in late-night war rooms. No more hiding heroes. Carter's world bloomed parallel. The shop thrived, his LA offer evolving into a licensing deal. Designs shipped west, no relocation required. Best of both, he grinned, unveiling a new piece. A mural on the back wall, vignettes of urban legends, queer icons woven subtle into the weave. I sat for hours watching clients emerge transformed, stories etched eternal. But peace fractures easy. February brought a subpoena. Sebastian's legal salvo, countersuit claiming defamation, emotional distress from the warehouse assault. His lawyers painted me villain. Ambitious upstart, jealous lover weaponizing Carter's instability. Voss's support chilled. Handle it quiet. Agency can't weather scandal. Carter fumed over court docs strewn like battlefield maps. He's twisting truth again. Like always. We fight facts, I said, though dread pooled cold. Hired a shark, pro bono from a queer legal collective, and prepped for deposition, stomach knotted. The hearing was a circus. Sterile courtroom in Lower Manhattan, Sebastian across the aisle, gaunt in gray wool, eyes avoiding mine. His testimony dripped venom. Harlan provoked, obsessed with my past, slandering to climb. Lies layered thick, but our evidence, recordings, timestamps, cracked them open. My turn, voice steady, recounting the threats, the leaks, the swing of that bottle. He chose destruction over healing. Ich chose truth. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with salt and pepper bun, leaned forward. Mr. Hale, your history here is noted. Case dismissed. Restraining order stands. Relief crashed, but as we filed out, Sebastian cornered me in the hall. Order be damned. You win this round, he hissed, breath sour. But Carter? He'll see. I'm the one who shaped him. Shaped and shattered. Carter materialized, hand on my arm, voice ice. Walk away, Bastion. For good. A beat. Hatred warring with hollow. And he did, slinking into the elevator like smoke. Outside, February wind whipped raw. Carter pulled me into an alley alcove, kissing away the tension. Over, he breathed. Us against the ghosts, and we won. Spring's thaw mirrored our own. We planned the wedding. Not courthouse, but a vow renewal in the Catskills. Intimate circle of misfits and mom. Hikes by day, bonfires by night. Exchanging rings simple as our start. Silver bands etched with compasses, pointing true. Mom officiated, voice thick. You boys remind me. Love's not perfect. It's persistent. Vows exchanged, tears and laughter mingling. Carter's, I choose you. Every plot twist, sealing it. Back in the city, life layered richer. I directed my first full spot. A short film on resilience, screened at Tribeca to standing ovation. Carter inked a celeb client, his rep soaring. We adopted a mutt, Rusty, all wiry fur and wagging hope. From a shelter upstate, walks becoming therapy. Park loops where we'd unpack days, dreams. Yet humanism demands depth. June tested us. Carter's diagnosis, early arthritis, needlework's toll on his hands. Can't grip like before, he confessed over diner fries, voice small. What if the art fades? Panic flickered, mine not his. Then we adapt. Voice your visions. Or hell, I'll storyboard your life. His laugh bubbled, grateful. Pushy director. We pivoted. He taught workshops, consulted on designs, hands healing with PT and spite. I cleared space and pitches for his input, ads infused with his raw edge, earning Voss's rare praise. Harlan, you're building an empire. With heart. Summer peaked in heatwave haze. A barbecue on our roof, Reyes grilling skewers, Mom's potato salad, Carter's playlist of anthems queer and defiant. As dusk fell, fireflies dancing, I pulled him aside. Remember that rain? Hard to forget. His arms circled, chin on my shoulder. Stranded suit, flip phone savior. Now, I turned, city lights winking complicit. Now we're the story. Kiss slow, world fading. Autumn whispered warnings. Sebastian resurfaced, not threat, but olive branch. A package. Sketchbook, his early works. Raw, romantic, echoes of the boy Carter loved. Note clipped, for the archive. Truth's my therapy now. Be happy, for him. Carter leafed through expression complex. Talented once. Broken always. Forgive. I echoed his old question. He closed it, setting aside. Maybe, but I release. For us. Winter circled back, softer. Holidays at Mom's evolved tradition. Carter carving turkey. Me on pie duty. Lopsided. Loved. New Year's on our roof. Rusty at our feet. Toasts to unwritten chapters. Voss retired, handing reins to Reyes. I stepped up. Associate Creative Director. Title heavy with trust. Carter's hands steadied. New tools easing the strain. A gallery show loomed, his murals framed. One snowy eve, fire escape perch, scotch warming palms. Think we made it? I asked, head on his shoulder. Making it. His fingers traced my ring. Every day. America's tapestry. Frayed, fierce. Holds threads like ours. Betrayal's sting yielding to love's loom. We wove on. Unexpected saviors turned eternal partners. Story endless as the skyline. The gallery opening was a fever dream. Soho loft pulsing with low lights and high chatter. Carter's murals dominating walls like reclaimed manifestos. Abstracts of urban grit. Lovers silhouetted against graffiti skies. Hands clasped defying shadows. Drew gasps, bids. The elites circling like moths to his flame. He navigated it with quiet command. Suit jacket slung over shoulder. tattooed arms flexing as he shook hands. I hung back, beer in hand, pride swelling fierce. Harlan, a voice cut through Voss, cane tapping, wife on arm. Your boy's a revelation, like that first pitch, raw power. Carter overheard, grinning sheepish. Learned from the best. We slipped away mid-swirl. Rooftop escape under stars smudged by city glow. Terrified, he admitted, leaning on the parapet. What if they see through? Then they see you. I joined him, wind-tousling hair. All edges and light. His gaze softened, pulling me in. Could have been nothing. That rain, that phone. Everything. Kiss sealing it, the world below humming approval. Life's current swept steady after. Spring shoots took us cross-country. Kansas plains for heartland spots, where locals, farmers, vets, shared stories mirroring our campaign soul. Carter tagged along when he could, sketching on set, his presence a talisman against burnout. In a Wichita motel, neon buzzing outside, we lay tangled, talking legacies. Kids? He ventured, fingers circling my navel. Not bio, adopt, maybe. Pass the torch. Heart stuttered, futures wait, wondrous. Yeah, teach 'em to fight fair, love fierce. Summer simmered with milestones. Mom's remission announced over Zoom. Cancer's retreat, her laugh brighter than screens allowed. Bring that husband of yours home, she teased. Rusty needs grandma spoiling. We did, Labor Day drive. Highways unspooling like film reels, pit stops for pie and tails. Carter bonded with her over gardens. His thumb surprisingly green, while Rusty romped fields, a blur of joy. Fall brought ripples. Sebastian's therapy epistles continued, sporadic, sincere. Updates on sobriety. A quiet job in nonprofit arts. One enclosed photo, him at a pride march, sign reading out and owning it. Carter read, sighed. Healing. Late, but real. Forgiveness. I probed gentle. He nodded, slow. For him, and us, lightens the load. November elections loomed, country's pulse erratic. Debates raging on rights, representation. Our spots aired pivotal. Vignettes of diverse Americans voting, loving, living unbowed. Backlash bit, trolls, threats, but so did support, viral waves crashing positive. A brick through the shop window one dawn. Sickos scrawled in marker. Carter stared, jaw set. They don't get it, scares us. I pulled him close, amid shattered glass. Then we clean up. Together. Insurance covered. Community rallied. Neighbors boarding. Artists donating murals anew. Opening night redux. Fiercer crowd. Carter's toast. Hate breaks windows. Love builds worlds. Winter wrapped gentle. Holiday cards from Reyes. New baby pick. Agency gossip. Mom's visit. Tree trimming chaos. Her and Carter dueling over ornaments. Rusty stealing bows. New Year's Eve, we hosted intimate hours. String lights. Playlist looping our anthems. Friends toasting to persistence. As midnight struck, confetti raining, Carter whispered vow renewal. Still choose you. Always. Fireworks burst, mirroring heart's bloom. Yet drama whispers eternal. Spring unearthed a ghost. Anonymous email to agency. Sebastian's relapse. Claims I'd driven it via lawsuit stress. Bluff or breakdown. Voss no, Reyes now summoned. Verify. Protect the brand. I dug. Carter's contacts tracing sender. A bitter ex-colleague of his. Grudge-fueled forgery. Cleared. But the toll lingered, trust's fragile rebuild. We confronted roots. Therapy double dates. Unpacking closets' long shadows. America promises equality, Carter said one session, hands clasped. Delivers in pieces. We claim ours. Summer crested triumphant. Tribeca sequel. My doca short on queer creators. Carter's animations threading narrative. Premiere afterparty, arms linked, basking acclaim. Fall deep in bonds. Adoption papers filed. Foster kid. 10. Eyes wide with hope. Theo. All questions and quiet strength. First week's chaos. Bunk beds. Bedtime stories. Carter sketches animating his world. Mom met him over cider. Family's what you foster. Winter's hush held wonder. Theo's first snowman. Lopsided. Loved. Holidays expanded. 4 stockings. Table groaning. One eve. Park bundled walk. Theo sledding ahead. Rusty bounding, we paused. Breaths clouding. Our story, Carter said, arm round me. Masterpiece. Snow fell soft, blanketing past. Climax crested subtle. Sebastian's final letter. Closure's gift. Found peace. Volunteering now, inking futures for at-risk youth. Thank you for the mirror. Carter burned it peaceful, ashes to wind. Full circle. Spring bloomed literal. Park picnics, Theo's laughs echoing. Agency thrived under Reyes, my role evolution. Mentor now, guiding new voices. Summer road trip, keys bound. Top down, Theo shotgun chattering. Beaches white, waters turquoise. Sunsets painting us gold. Fall's harvest. Theo's school play, him as tree beaming. Carter's gallery solo. Sold out, critics hailing Humanity's Inc. Winter's Eve, fire crackling. Family curled. Best plot. Theo yawned. Unending. I agreed. Carter's nod seal. In America's vast, veined narrative. Betrayals bridged. Loves layered. We thrived. Unexpected ask birthed epic. Rain-soaked stranger to soul's keeper. Human, hence profound.